Stop scrolling for a second. If you're staring at real estate listings right now, write this down. It's not you. It's really not you. In the next few minutes, I'm going to prove that with numbers, and honestly, you might get a little annoyed because the truth here is pretty frustrating. I'm Emiliotti, and today we're doing a calculation that real estate agents, banks, and that one uncle who keeps saying, just work harder, would rather you never sit down and do. The question is simple: who can actually afford a $500,000 house or whatever that number looks like where you live? Not who can get approved for a loan, actually afford it, meaning you can go grocery shopping without your stomach tightening. And when the pipes burst at midnight, you don't have a full-blown panic attack. Ready? Because this one's going to sting a little. Let's start with the nightmare everyone forgets about. First, the down payment. The old rule was 20% down on a $500,000 home. That's $100,000 in cash, just sitting there ready to hand over. Now think about this. How much does the average American actually have in savings? Around $8,000, not $100,000. $8,000. The gap between what you have and what you need is roughly $92,000. That's not a shortfall. That's a canyon. Fine, you're thinking. I'll just save it. Let's do that math too. Say you're earning $84,000 a year, which happens to be about the median household income in America, and you manage to save 10% of it, which almost nobody actually does. That's $8,400 a year. At that pace, hitting $100,000 takes you 12 years. 12. And that's assuming home prices freeze in place the entire time, which, let's be honest, they never do. So most people skip the 20%. They go in with 5 or 10% instead. And that unlocks a lovely little surprise called PMI, private mortgage insurance. It's the fee you pay every single month for the crime of not being wealthy enough to put more down. Somewhere between $200 and $400 a month, and it doesn't protect you at all. It protects the bank. Now let's get to the real bill. Say you scrape together $50,000, 10% down. That leaves you with a $450,000 loan at today's interest rates, somewhere around 6 to 7%. Your monthly payment lands between $2,700 and $2,850, and that's just the loan itself. Owning the house barely starts there. Property tax adds roughly $500 a month. Homeowners insurance, especially with climate-related costs rising everywhere, adds another $250 to $350. Maintenance, because the water heater will absolutely die on a Sunday night, runs about 1% of the home's value per year, which works out to around $417 a month on a house this size. And don't forget that PMI, another $300, add it all up, $2,850 plus $500 plus $300 plus $417 plus $300. That's $4,367 a month just to live there. Before the roof leaks, before the HOA hits you with a surprise assessment. So who can actually carry that? Financial advisors say housing shouldn't eat more than 28% of your gross income. Banks will approve you up to 43% because their job isn't making sure you don't drown. It's making sure the loan technically doesn't default. Using the 28% rule, you'd need to earn about $187,000 a year to comfortably cover that payment. Even using the bank's looser 43% rule, you'd still need at least $150,000. And here's the punchline. Only about 10 to 20% of American households earn $150,000 or more, which means roughly 80% of households simply cannot afford a $500,000 home by any reasonable standard. That's not an opinion, that's arithmetic. But people are buying these houses, you'll say. Sure, they are. Let's talk about how some have two solid incomes, some have family money backing them up, and some, this is the part that actually hurts, have stretched themselves so thin that one hospital bill or one layoff could collapse the whole thing. Let me walk you through a made-up couple, but with completely real numbers. Call them Mia and Daniel. Both working, bringing in a combined $160,000 a year, well above average. They should be comfortable, right? After taxes, insurance, and a modest retirement contribution, they're taking home about $9,500 a month. Subtract that $4,367 housing cost, and they're left with $5,133. Now, real life kicks in. Two car payments because they both need to commute, $800. Car insurance, $250. Gas, $300. Student loan payments, $600. The gap their employer doesn't cover on health insurance, $400. Groceries, if they're being careful, $800. Utilities for a bigger house, $450. What's left? $1,533. And we haven't touched clothing, entertainment, kids' activities, car repairs, dental visits, or savings of any kind. This couple is spending 46% of their take-home pay on housing, not 28, not even 35, 46. And what does that actually feel like day to day? It feels like checking your bank balance before you buy groceries. It feels like telling your kid no to a $35 field trip because that money might be needed for new tires. It feels like lying awake at 2 in the morning doing mental math about whether it's safer to fix the tires now or just hope it doesn't rain. The air conditioning breaks, that's a $5,000 surprise. Someone rear ends you. There's your $1,000 deductible straight onto a credit card. Your kid needs braces, and suddenly you're financing dental work like it's a car. These aren't irresponsible people. They're not buying jet skis or flying to Europe every year. They're just trying to live in the kind of house the market keeps insisting is normal. Here's the thing, nobody in this transaction has any incentive to tell you. The real estate agent gets paid when the deal closes, not when it's a smart decision for you. The bank just needs the loan to not default immediately, not to leave you financially okay 10 years from now. The seller priced the house at whatever the last comparable house sold for. Nobody in that chain is thinking about whether you'll sleep at night. And once you sign, there's no undo button. You can't decide 6 months in that this was a mistake and just walk away without wrecking your credit and losing your down payment. So people stay. They stay in jobs they hate because they can't risk a gap in income. They watch their savings quietly disappear while being told they're living the dream. Let's zoom out for a second. Since 1990, home prices in the US have risen roughly 400%. Incomes over the same period about 100 to 80%. That gap isn't closing. It's widening. You cannot budget your way out of a structural problem like that. You cannot skip enough lattes to fix a housing market that's disconnected from actual paychecks. So what do you actually do with all this? Stop asking the bank how much they'll lend you. Start asking yourself a different question. If I buy this house, can I still put money into an emergency fund? Can I still invest for retirement? Can something break without sending me into a spiral? When you find that real number, for most people, it's nowhere close to $500,000, and that's completely fine. Being realistic doesn't make you a failure. Maybe the answer is a smaller house. Maybe it's renting a little longer and investing the difference instead. Maybe it's waiting for the market to correct. None of those are things to be ashamed of because there's no prize for owning a house that leaves you gasping for air every month. Real wealth isn't 4 walls with your name on the deed. It's having room to breathe. It's being able to handle whatever life throws at you without falling apart. The market's going to keep insisting these prices are normal. The banks are going to keep approving loans that maybe shouldn't be approved, but now you know the real numbers. And sometimes the smartest move you can make is recognizing when the game is rigged and simply choosing not to play it. If this helped you see things a little clearer, drop a comment and tell me what the numbers look like in your city. I'd genuinely like to know. See you in the next one.